See if I can get this right. So I'm trying something new this morning. I'm trying to go live on Facebook and live on Periscope. And so we'll see how that works. I just committed to starting today that I would begin doing these Facebook Lives and just videos to share with you guys. So I'm going to wait just for a few minutes. I just want to tell you a few things about myself, and then I'm going to get started because I believe I have a message that can encourage you. My name is Anita Gibson. I am a coach, educational strategist, and speaker, and I am the founder of the Non-Comfort Zone on Facebook Live, actually on Facebook. And today, I wanted to come in and talk with you guys about why comfort is killing you. I know that sounds kind of strange, doesn't it? Let's see if I can share this before I get started. Trying to see how can I share this with a group. So I've never done this before, so I'm not sure of exactly where it is. All right, I don't see it, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, why comfort is killing you? That's kind of a strange statement, but for someone who has come from a place of trying to protect and stay comfortable for many, many years, it is a relevant question. I know it was for me, and I have a feeling that it might be for others. So when you think of comfort, what do you think of? The dictionary says that comfort is a state of ease and freedom from pain or constraints. It sounds good. Like, who wouldn't want to be comfortable? However, there are some consequences when we try to stay in our comfort zone. When we attempt to avoid pain, when we attempt to stay comfortable because we don't want to get hurt. It actually can insulate our lives and cause us to not be as effective, to cause us to not really engage with life in a way that we need to. About 40 years ago, I was on an airplane. My dad was in the Air Force, and we were coming back from the Philippines. 24-hour flight. Okay? And we were almost to Hawaii and hit an air pocket. Well, an air pocket, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like a space, I guess, in the air, and the plane is not supported. And so the plane just began to drop and plummet, and it was just a terrifying experience. I just have never, ever forgotten that. And it colored. Okay, so we dropped. Well, finally, the plane caught, and everything was okay, and we flew on. Well, everything was okay with the plane, but that had such an impact on my life that for the next 40 years, every time I got on the plane, I was absolutely terrified. I avoided it at all costs. If I had to, I would do it. But if I didn't, then I did not get on a plane. And so our oldest daughter, became a foreign service officer and began to be stationed in places around the world. And her first place that she was stationed was Togo, Africa. And we were excited for her, and she was asking us, when are you coming? And, in my mind, it was kind of like, when am I coming? Let's talk about that later. And before I knew it, her 2-year stay there was over, and I no longer had an opportunity to go to Togo, Africa. Well, she came back to the States, got a new assignment, worked on her Vietnamese, and then was shipped off to Vietnam. And again, we were excited for her. She was asking us, okay, so, when are you guys going to come? And so, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And the closer the time came for us to begin to get things in order, the more chicken I became. And I realized that if I did not get a hold of this fear of flying, if I stayed in my comfort zone, um, I was not going to be able to enjoy these opportunities that my daughter's job, were allowing for us. And so when I realized that I was actually holding myself back, I really had to challenge myself. And so the way I got out of my comfort zone with that was I decided we were definitely going to Vietnam. And then I got all the details. Like we had to get shots and we needed a visa. And it was a 20-hour flight, like 15 hours, then a layover in Korea, and then a 2-hour layover in Korea, and then another 5 hours. So pretty long flight. And so the week before that, my blood pressure was skyrocketing. I was an emergency. There was all kinds of stuff going on, and people were saying, I don't think you should go on that trip. What if your blood pressure goes up on the plane? They're not going to be able to help you. And I prayed about that thing, and God said, go. And so I was a little concerned, but I knew that whatever else God had for me was on the other side of me taking that plane trip. And so my husband and we got on that plane, and let me tell you, I was having panic attacks left and right. Just nobody knew it. Just in my own mind, I would get okay. I'd try to go to sleep. I'd read a book, and then I'd realize I was, thousands of feet up in the air in this little plane and over water. And because they actually had a camera that lets you see where the plane was at the time. And there's a lot of water you have to fly over. It was terrifying for me. And I just had to keep pulling myself back together and praying and just asking God to help me. It was hard, but I got through it. When we finally got to Vietnam, I was so happy that we had made it there. And literally within hours, our daughter was saying, hey, and she was giving us our agenda. And guess what? Next week, in 2 days, we're going to go to the beach. And I was like, oh, I love the beach. Let's go to the beach. And she said, it's only an hour away. And I was like, an hour away? Yeah, we can do that. And then she said, and it's by plane. And I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't say it to her because this was her vacation time and I didn't want to ruin her plans. But getting on another plane, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And so I thought about that thing and I said, you know what? I'm going to get on that plane. And so we did. And we got on the plane, went to the beach, had a great time. I was still afraid. On the way back from the beach, from that island, we were on the plane, and I just remember the plane was backing out, and all of a sudden God just said to me, Anita, I will never leave you. He said, you are safer on this plane than you were when you were in Washington, D.C. He said, you just don't understand. I'm watching over you. I'm keeping you. There's so many things that you did not see, that you do not know that I'm keeping you from. He said, even if this plane crashes, I will not leave you. You will never be alone. And that moment, something that I knew in my head, that whole thing went to my heart. And for the first time in 40 years, I was on a plane and I was not afraid. Can you imagine that? I was on a plane and I was not afraid. And so we had a wonderful rest of that week, and then it was time to get back on the big plane and go on back to Washington D.C. And I wondered if the peace that I had received, when we were leaving that little island, did I still have it? And as I got on this plane for this next, 15, 20-hour trip, I want you to know that there was a peace that was in my heart all the way home. And I was able to fly back home without fear. I'm not sure why that was my moment, but if I had never pushed myself out of my comfort zone, if I would have never said, okay, this is what I need to do, because otherwise I'm never going to be able to go to any of these beautiful places that my daughter is stationed at. If I didn't say, God, you're going to have to be enough for me, I would have missed out on learning that he really is enough. But I had to place myself in a position to find that out practically, not theoretically. Not what was in my head, but I had to learn how to really walk that out. And so your comfort zone is killing you because it's keeping you from whatever your next is. Whatever that next thing that God has for you. We, I think, are addicted to comfort. I know I was. I actually did everything I could to always stay comfortable. And as I began to really research out this comfort zone thing, I began to realize that my places of growth, my places of getting to know God better, my places of finding my purpose were always in the non-comfort zone. So what about you? What have you been avoiding? What do you know God has been calling you to do? And you get right up to when you're supposed to do it and you make excuses for not getting it done. Anything? If it doesn't feel uncomfortable, you really haven't moved. You have to truly become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So what does that look like? For you, it could look like giving kisses and hugs when you are not a touchy-feely person. Can you relate? It could be volunteering to greet people at the door for an event and you're an introvert and you don't like talking to people. But you know that God is saying you really got to get better with that. It could be agreeing to do a presentation at a meeting and you're terrified to speak. You feel inadequate, like you're not able to do it. Those are all examples of how you have to get out of your way. So God, he comes in to help us when we are willing to take the step. And so sometimes he's just waiting for us to do that. So I'm encouraging you today, please, please, please begin to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes you need help with when you're moving to a new place. Sometimes it's hard to do it on your own. So I want to invite you to the Non-Comfort Zone. It's a closed group on Facebook. Feel free to ask to join. I would love to have you there. If you want accountability, if you want support, if you want ideas for how to keep moving and staying in the non-comfort zone. Because guess what? Once you get one area down, there's always more things that God wants to perfect us in. There are always more places that he wants us to go. And it helps when we don't have to do it on our own. It helps when we have someone who we share, this is what I'm trying to do, and they can ask, well, how's that coming? The non-comfort zone in Facebook. Check us out. It's free. It's just another place for you to be able to get some accountability. So you can stop allowing your comfort zone to keep you stuck and to keep you from the next thing that God has for you. Have a wonderful and amazing day. This is Anita Gibson, coach, speaker, an educational strategist, and the founder of the Non-Comfort Zone. Come on, y'all. Let's do this thing. Take care. Oh, that's awesome. I have moved from the comfort zone to the glory zone. That is amazing. If there are people on, for some reason I cannot see. I cannot see your comments and things, but I really hope that you are blessed by what was shared today, and I really hope you take that next step to get out of your comfort zone. Goodbye.